Solar Panel Show. I'm Tim Tompkins.
I'm Greg Esposito. Ahoy, hoy.
And I am Dave King.
And today on the show, we are talking about the Phoenix Suns' links on the Lakers squad going to the NBA Finals. The Suns posting an 8-0 graphic with 2 free agents on it. Devin Booker's all NBA snubs. And should the Suns draft on positional need, best player available, or trade the pick, as well as a Q&A with fans and ballers, including a lot of free agency, salary cap, trade.
Salary crap, everybody.
Also, I should say, since you're watching the show right now, if you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. That way you get alerted to, when we're posting a new episode. Anyway, happy Sunday morning. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty great. How are you doing, Espo?
I'm here. I'm wearing a nice new hat, so other than that, it's Sunday
Tell us
morning.
About the hat.
The hat, Dave, you'll be getting one. Tim, I don't know yet, and they're not available for public consumption. I spent my own money to have these made just for the boys here. So it's I think you can read it. It says the solar panel. So it's all about branding here on the pod.
It is all about branding. What's that shirt you're wearing?
Oh, I had to go throwback to the to the timeline with
there you go.
All these guys that are dead to us now. So
yeah, with Josh Jackson's big fro on there.
Yeah, Josh Jackson, Dragan Bender, Tyler Ulis. I think Devin Booker's the only one left, and then Ryan McDonough's on the back.
Ryan McDonough.
So we've got all the people no longer around.
Back.
Yeah, so.
That's cool.
I was feeling nostalgic.
I'm wearing
today.
one of my timeline shirts as well. Since we had said it was timeline 2020, right? This is 2020.
Hey, this is the darkest timeline. It's nice that Tim showed up dressed appropriately, per usual.
Well, if I would have known that you guys were going to,
if you'd have known we were doing a Suns podcast.
I would have showed up not wearing an Authority Zero shirt.
We expect nothing less from
now
you.
If you really care.
Really, I'm also here to rep the Phoenix fans is what this comes down to also.
Well, we'll take it. Per usual, we're off to a rip-roaring start here on the
We are,
I know, right? Have we lost anybody yet? I think we have lost people by now.
Listen. Dragan Bender no longer in the NBA.
Dragan Bender, yes, signing with Israel back to Maccabi Tel Aviv, the team he played for, starred for? No, just played for back before when he was a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, before he became a Phoenix Sun and was drafted 4th overall. That was a stellar kickoff for drafting for the Phoenix Suns 2016 and 17. Just stellar. So Dragan Bender has signed with Israel. That doesn't mean he's not coming back to the NBA. Nobody knows when the NBA is going to start up again. Could be January, could be March. Bender has an out clause to the NBA in that contract. He could also just stay with Maccabi for a few years if nobody wants him in the NBA. So we'll see. I think he probably preferred guaranteed money over getting non-guaranteed or 10-day contracts in the NBA. Maybe he's going to pull the Nikola Mirotic path and just dominate over in Europe now. What do you guys think?
I kind of feel bad for the guy because to me, he never struck me as the guy that didn't work hard enough or didn't care. Like some of these guys. I mean, the Josh Jacksons of the world. Dragan Bender wasn't allegedly hotboxing his child. Or anything like that. I think
allegedly.
Allegedly. We don't want to get sued here on the solar panel because Josh Jackson's a big listener, so we don't want him or his lawyer.
Probably listening right now. Hi, Josh.
But I always felt bad because I don't feel like Dragan Bender was a case of not trying hard enough. I think it may have been a case of what a high school football coach told me when I was in high school. He might just be too nice of a guy. He might just not have that competitive edge to actually go out there and play at a level of the NBA, because I think he has skills. I think he's a good human being. I think he tried, but it always just felt like he was lacking that that little something that would put him able to do it on a consistent basis, able to hit that three.
What I still find nostalgic, hilarious, I don't know, was when Georgios Papagiannis's dad got into the comments section of Brightside to tell us how soft, like tissue paper, Dragan Bender was, and how much, speaking of course, how great his son was, because if you guys remember, Georgios Papagiannis was taken 13th overall with the pick the Suns had for that Markieff Morris trade, which the Suns traded to Sacramento along with Bogdan Bogdanovic's rights and the Isaiah Thomas. That was the Isaiah Thomas pick as well, and the Marcus Morris pick, all for Marquise Chris. And Papagiannis's dad got into the Brightside comments saying how soft and weak Dragan Bender was, which actually turned out to be true. But it's funny that he was repping his own son, who played a lot less in the NBA than Dragan Bender did.
Yeah, well, dads are always going to stand up for most dads are going to stand up for their kids. Yeah, we won't get into my issues. No, I'm just kidding. But but I don't know. I don't hold a lot of ill will to Dragan Bender, and it may be because
I don't hold ill will at all. He's too nice to have ill will toward. He's like the little kid or something. As who is it? Somebody in the chat says he looks like he'd be my son. Yeah, Ryan G. Bender looks like he'd be Dave's son, just because of my short hair and his short hair. Yeah, no,
because he looks confused and not good at what he does.
Looks confused and not go. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. He could be my son.
I mean, I'm just wondering what his other options were. How many other teams are realistically throwing contracts at Dragan Bender?
Well, Golden State was the worst team in the league for a year, and Dragan Bender got onto so maybe the next worst team in the league. Although they're all trading off, like Alex Len played for the two worst teams, 2 or 3 of the worst teams.
Sure, Alex Len's a bit better. What team is saying we're a Dragan Bender away from where we need to be?
Well, the Bucks were last year.
What team is a Dragan Bender away from where they need to be? Wow, the same teams that are in Isaiah Canaan away from where they need to be.
Yeah, I guess that's true, right?
The past is so much fun to reminisce on. I mean, we had crappy draft picks and no point guard. Tyler Ulis, what is he doing? Has anybody put an APB on Tyler Ulis, or is he still living at Devin Booker's house, just living off DB's money there?
Who knows? He's too small to see, so we can't tell.
But honestly, like I said, I don't have any ill will towards Dragan Bender like I do some of the other draft picks that failed. I hope the guy finds a way to find that confidence, but I think this is always just going to kind of be him.
My favorite Tyler Ulis memory. Sorry, before you get off of Ulis, my favorite Tyler Ulis memory was the summer after Bender, Chris, and Ulis were drafted, and they did a kids camp and, sports camp for the kids that summer, and they all took a picture with the kids, and Tyler Ulis was the same height as some of the kids, and someone in the comments wrote, "Why he got to look like one of them camp kids?" And it turned out that Tyler had about that level of longevity in the NBA that one of the camp kids would have.
He had a game winner for the Suns over the Celtics at one point.
He did.
Which was more than any of the Marquise Chris or Dragan
more game
Bender,
winners than most, yes.
Or Josh Jackson did for them. So maybe I shouldn't.
Cheers to Tyler Ulis.
to Tyler. My favorite memory is him and Devin Booker rolling off that elevator to take care of some business. That's my favorite Tyler Ulis memory.
Tyler Ulis. I didn't realize he was in that picture.
I think it was him and
it was Ulis. Yeah. Well, but you can't tell because they were early proponents of mask wearing.
Exactly. Right? Not so much the social distancing or not touching other human beings, but the mask wearing. They were all in on it.
Was in vogue. Yes, exactly.
So
memories. We're walking down memory lane.
Hey, that recently where you had that in the bubble, the young lady that claimed to.
We're not going here, are we?
No, but I guess my question is, did any of the Suns ever respond to that? The
No,
team?
why would you? There's no reason to. Like, there's absolutely no reason to address that in any way, shape, or form, because there's
Can you
no answer
imagine
that's
the
good.
Suns social media team doing a response on behalf of this?
I mean, I'm just glad they went 8-0, not 7-0,
Like,
because
it'd be great if the social media team said something like, there's never been more than 6 Suns in a hotel room or something like that, just to refute the story.
Right.
No,
There was no refuting. So
it gives
it's like they're like,
different
no,
meaning
but
to
Mike Vigil, I got to give
8-0.
credit. I got to give credit to Mike Vigil of the Timeline Pod and Twitter, Suns Twitter. He's the one who noticed that the same guy, Daniel House, who got kicked out of the bubble this year for having a female guest in his room against the law, against the rules of the bubble, was also on the team at the in the 2017 season. There may be a connection there. Daniel House might just be a guy who likes that kind of thing, as if nobody else is a guy who likes that kind of thing. But we'll go with Daniel.
Might just be a guy that likes. All right. So next up, the Suns coaching staff, assistant coaching staff, seems to be
from one talk of staff to another.
Yeah. So the Suns used to have a young man named Nate Bjorkgren on the staff back when Earl Watson was coach. Actually, Nate started as a player development kind of guy with the Phoenix Suns back on the final days of Jeff Hornacek, and then when Earl Watson was promoted, and Jeff's main coaches were also fired ahead of Jeff. Then Nate Bjorkgren actually became an assistant then, and then stayed an assistant with Earl Watson for a year and a half, and was unceremoniously let go when Earl Watson was let go. He didn't stay down for long. Nate Bjorkgren immediately went to the Toronto Raptors, probably due to his connection with assistant coach Nick Nurse on the Raptors, who was assistant at the time. When Nurse got promoted to the Raptors head coach, he made Nate Bjorkgren his lead assistant. And you've probably noticed the bald guy prematurely bald guy next to Nick Nurse on the sidelines for the last 2 years for the Raptors. That's Nate Bjorkgren, and he's a super nice guy, really great guy. Big fan of Brightside, by the way. He actually came up to me at Media Day one day in 2016, I believe, and said he's a huge Brightside fan and reads us every day. So that's pretty awesome.
Wasn't he also the NEZ Suns coach for a bit?
Yeah. He came up from the G League. Excuse me. He came up from the G League, had been the head coach of the Bakersfield Jam before they moved to Prescott Valley.
You're right.
Before they moved to Naz Suns. But he was the head coach of the Bakersfield Jam. He was also on Nick Nurse's staff when the Iowa Energy won the G League championship in 2011. Nick Nurse was the head coach. Nate Bjorkgren was his assistant, and that was when the Suns were affiliated with the Iowa Energy for a few years, not owning them, but were one of like 3 or 4 teams that funneled players through there. And so Nick Nurse and Nate Bjorkgren simultaneously became the only coaches in history to win a championship in the G League and a championship in the NBA.
What a deal. That was before the NAZ Suns became Server's cash grab.
So why are we bringing this up? Nick Nurse is getting an interview with the Pacers to be their head coach. Not Nick Nurse. Nate Bjorkgren is getting an interview with the Pacers to be their head coach because now he is going to hopefully carry his own water. So I am happy for him, and I would love it if we can get an exclusive with him. But he's been a little busy last couple of years.
Well, that and Monty Williams has also added Brian Randall to the staff.
Okay.
Yeah, and Brian Randall, yes, he's a guy who was a player development guy up in Minnesota the last year, and he's just a young up and coming coach. So I'm not sure if he's a replacement for either of the coaches the Suns have lost. Any of the coaches the Suns have lost. Right now, the Suns have lost 3 of their coaches since the last season, and 2 on the end of the bench, like Steve Blake and I forget who the other one was, Randy Ayers, and then They've recently lost Darko Rajakovic, who is one of the lead assistants on the team, to Memphis. So I wonder who's going to replace Darko. I don't think it's this guy, Brian Randall. I think Brian Randall more equates to replacing a Steve Blake type who was more into player development and running guys through drills than he was carrying a clipboard.
Ryan in the YouTube chat is saying that Randall is from where he's from in Peoria, Illinois, and that he is a legend in his town. So that's interesting.
Let me say this. Well, it's almost October, right? Screw you, COVID, because we should be talking about the beginning of training camp and basketball, and we're talking about guys at the very end of the bench that nobody really cares all that much about. So screw you, COVID. I miss actual basketball we could be talking about right now.
Oh yeah, but we got 2 months of basketball in the summer thanks to COVID. So let's not pretend it's been 6 months.
We didn't get summer league. We didn't get Tim out of his mind.
We know you
in
live
Vegas.
and die by the draft.
I'm not sure I'm going to Vegas again for summer league. let's be
you
real
should go
clear.
to Vegas ever again.
Never.
Are you allowed back in Vegas?
I'm sure they would take my money. Yes.
Honestly, the assistant coach stuff for the Suns, you're just shuffling deck chairs at the back end of this. I understand that player development is important and is going to become even more important now that the Suns have decided to, give the middle finger to what 29 other NBA teams are doing and really not focus on the G League for development, but try to use the 11 through 15 spots on their roster to play the G League level kind of guys. So it becomes important, but still. The most important part is the guy at the beginning of the bench, obviously. Monty Williams coming back for year 2, trying to get his staff in order to where he's fully comfortable with these guys to accomplish what they need. For me, I trust his instincts, so I'm sure the changes that he's making will have a positive impact, but it's the kind of positive impact we will probably have absolutely no idea about. It'll be the little things during practice. It'll be the things, the small things in the locker room or one-on-one workouts outside of the team. It'll be those kind of things that we won't really know. But I believe that Monty Williams is the kind of guy that understands character, obviously understands the importance of culture, and anybody's going to add to his staff to replace the guys outgoing. Will bring that to the table. So, I look forward to seeing what the final coaching staff is and what these guys bring in totality for sure.
Yeah, we don't know exactly. We don't know what the final coaching staff is going to look like. There's so much turnover across the NBA as teams are finishing their seasons. And I'm sure Monty Williams, as you said, Greg, will find good coaches, the right coaches for his environment. And they might not be the biggest names, but they'll work. I like what he does.
Great.
So
the energy is just here today, guys.
Tim, come on, let's go. Show some energy.
No, here's the thing. So in the show notes, we have that Devin Booker was voted the third best player, if you will, under the age of 25 if you were going to start an NBA franchise. And we had in the show notes that it was Hoops Hype. And I was trying to find the article in which you were referring to, Dave, whenever you put this in the show notes. And I'm looking at brightsidethesun.com, and it looks like Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum were the only two players under 25 that were voted ahead of him. I'm just trying to figure out who was actually voting in this poll.
Yeah, so I have it in the article for those who read Brightside. You know how they did the votes, but we what Hoops Hype did is they interviewed more than a dozen different executives around the league. They interviewed some front office people, some coaches, things like that. Whoever they have their little connections with, they had those folks vote on who they would start a team with under 25, and they were each allowed to pick 5 players. So they were each allowed to pick 5 players So Devin Booker was the third most popular player picked amongst the top 5 from a dozen different coaches and scouts and staff and stuff like that.
Look, I agree on the Doncic thing, and no, I don't want to retry the Ayton Doncic crap. We've done that a million times on this show, but to me, Tatum,
Who?
Luka Doncic. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the man who we're not supposed to name. Yes. Sorry, I forgot the bit because I've tried to block all of this crap out of my mind about him. But Tatum's the one that I wonder. Like, there is a lot of hype for this guy right now, and you look in, I think it was game 4 of their Eastern Conference Final Series. The guy doesn't score a point in the first half, right? It goes ice cold, and then manages to score 18, I believe, or 20 in the third, and all of a sudden everybody's like, see, he's an MVP candidate, and they forget that he didn't score a damn point in the first half. Tatum, I think Booker is better than Tatum. I would rather have
they're different. They're different players.
Yeah, but if I'm starting a franchise, I think I'd rather have Devin Booker because I just think I'm getting a more complete player, especially offensively there, to really lead my team. I don't know that Jason Tatum is that number one star on a team, and we're going to find out because he's trying to make he and the Celtics are trying to make a comeback against the Heat, and then they'd have LeBron waiting, but I don't think he's the guy. Like, I believe in Devin Booker being that guy.
I don't know, man. Jason Tatum has some mad skills, and he's only 22. He can play great offense and great defense. So, I mean, I don't have a big problem with Jason Tatum being ranked ahead of Devin Booker. I am happy to see that everyone else who's under 25 was below Devin Booker, including the red hot Jamal Murray and guys like Trae Young. I don't.
Well,
think
here let's go through the list then. Actually, read it off. All right. So number 1, of course, we talked about Luka Doncic. Second most popular player, Jason Tatum, followed by Devin Booker, followed by Ja Morant, followed by Donovan Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, number 5. Zion at number 7, which is a little bit surprising that he wasn't lower. Obviously, the injury concerns. Jamal Murray. Coming in right after that, Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox, Karl Anthony Towns, all the way at 1.3%, number 13. Are you guys surprised that DeAndre Ayton wasn't?
Yeah. So this is the thing. The timing is also of issue. A lot of the young under 25 players who are really good and a couple who made All-Star game this year weren't named in this among these 13. It's because none of those guys have played since March. Cat hasn't played since March, so people forget how good he is. So the recency bias was really evident in this poll. Again, this was a random poll. Tell me 5 players you would rank 5 players you would build your under 25 team around, and almost all their attention was on players who were in the bubble, and probably and very much in the playoffs as well. So I think Devin actually showed out real well considering he didn't make the playoffs, but the Suns did go 8-0 and he looked like a superstar. Why wasn't DeAndre Ayton mentioned? Well, DeAndre Ayton did not have a great bubble. He had a good bubble. He had an okay bubble, but he didn't have a great bubble. So I'm not surprised he wasn't mentioned. Only 13 people came up in people's minds.
No, there's a reason DeAndre Ayton wasn't mentioned, and it's simple. If I'm starting a franchise, I'm not starting it with DeAndre Ayton. If we were talking about I need a number 2 guy, maybe DeAndre Ayton makes that list, but DeAndre Ayton is not 1A. DeAndre Ayton is not the superstar you're going to build your team around. He's the guy you're going to put next to the guy you're going to build your team around. And I believe that in just the way his demeanor is. He needs somebody to motivate him, to push him. That's Devin Booker's role with DeAndre Ayton. That's why, you look at Shaq. Shaq never was the number 1 guy in my mind. He was always 1B next to Penny Hardaway, next to Kobe Bryant, next to Dwayne Wade, next to Steve Nash, next to LeBron James. Okay, I'm getting facetious with those, but Shaq was never that 1A guy. I think you need a guy to push a DeAndre Ayton, and that's why he would never show up on a list like this, because he's not the guy you would start your franchise with. And I think that's where a lot of the angst when it comes to DeAndre Ayton is because Luka is an obvious guy that you would build your franchise around. DeAndre Ayton is the guy you put next to a guy like a Luka Doncic or Devin Booker that is very important to winning, but isn't the guy that will predicate it all the time.
Yeah, Ayton is always going to be, I think, well, we'll see. He's got to grow. He's got to develop. As far as who you'd build a team around between those three, I mean, obviously, I would take Luka first. If you gave me a choice and I had not had Devin Booker on my team for 5 years, I would take Luka first. Of course I would. I would keep Devin now because of loyalty to the guy who's put in 5 toiling years with this franchise along with us. He's in the foxhole with us. You keep him in the foxhole. You don't swap him out. So I would keep Booker now going forward. I've noticed, and I want to do a little deviance here off the show notes, but I've noticed that this year I'm watching the playoffs more than ever. I'm usually so burned out after 82 games and of disappointment watching the Suns that I don't do much watching the playoffs. I just can't get myself to watching 3-4 games at a time, blah, blah, blah. But this year, for some reason, because of the way the pandemic has played out, I am all over these playoffs, and I've watched almost every game that's been available, even when there was 3 or 4 games a day, because we're all working from home, or at least I am. And so I've been able to have that on next to while I'm working. So it's bothering me more and more that Devin Booker is not in these freaking playoffs. I feel so bad for Devin Booker that he's been stuck with this crappy franchise for 5 years. And these young guys like a Tyler Hero, great. I'm happy for Tyler Hero. I'm so happy for Tyler Hero having an opportunity to play well. But the dude's going to possibly be in his first NBA Finals as a rookie, as an important player on a team. And Devin Booker's here sitting at home twiddling his thumbs. Well, he's twiddling something. Maybe Kendall Jenner's with him. But anyway, Devin Booker is not playing basketball right now, and that really sucks. Devin Booker should have a chance to play basketball right now with the big boys on the big stage, because he would dominate. Devin Booker's game is made for playoff basketball. He would dominate. And I'm really, really sick of him not getting a chance to play in the playoffs. I don't want to see these young dudes. I don't want to see Alex Caruso making the NBA Finals when Devin Booker hasn't even had a chance to play in the damn playoffs. I'm sick of it. The Suns have got to make the playoffs next year. I've been on the slow boat the last couple of years so the Suns can build around Devin Booker, but that's partially because I haven't been watching the freaking playoffs. Now I'm just sick of not seeing him in the playoffs. He's got to get there. The Suns have got to build the team around him to get there next year, not 2 years from now, next year.
Well, Devin Booker needs to prove it too.
You heard it here first. Dave's been on the slow boat, so just remember that.
I've always been on the slow boat if I'm with you guys. Jesus Christ.
Look, I agree wholeheartedly. I am tired of Devin Booker not making the playoffs and not being a part of this, because I think he will have those Jamal Murray moments. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Jamal Murray!" I think Devin Booker would come out and light this up. Tyler Hero had that moment the other night. We got a little glimpse of what what playoff Devin Booker would look like to this league, and I think he would catch a lot of imaginations, right? He wind up catching quite a lot of attention from the national group that he hasn't, because of where the Suns have been. And the other thing that has become abundantly clear in this playoffs is, why should we feel sorry for Lakers fans? Everybody's like, oh, the Lakers fans have been through it. And then they show the picture of
none of us feel sorry for them.
Well, they show the starting lineup from a few years ago that had Sacre and a bunch of different. Oh no! Seriously, come look at the trash we've had to watch. Right? You want to feel sorry for a fan base? Feel sorry for the Phoenix Suns fans who didn't have the option of going, oh well, we're going to rebuild this team. Right? We're going to add 2 MVP candidates and first team All NBA guys to our roster because That's the way you do it. I know I will never feel sorry for Lakers fans in any way.
What do you think, Tim?
I mean, I agree, but I also think it's if Devin Booker is the player that we all believe that he is, the onus is also on him, not just on the franchise. That he needs to get some wins and get the team into the 8th seed. And I think it's
Do you think
about
he should
that
have been
time.
able to pull the Suns into the playoffs this past couple of years?
I think if you're going to be the max player, you're now on that max contract, you've been extended. There's plenty of debate about the talent that's been around him for sure. If you take a look and a list of all the players that he's played with and where those players are now in the NBA, it's clear they have not put good talent around him. But it is time for Devin Booker to bring this team to the next level.
Oh, I agree. And next year is the put up or shut up moment because now he has the talent, he has the coach. They proved that they can win in a high pressure environment. Now it's on Devin Booker. The Suns have taken the bare minimum necessary steps to put him within striking range of making it into the playoffs. So now it's not acceptable to win 4 games and then lose 7 in a row or have stretches where this team is completely disengaged. This is Devin Booker's team. He needs to step up. He needs to lead these guys into the playoffs. But the Suns still need to make roster improvements whenever the hell this offseason is, whether it's Thanksgiving. I don't know when offseason is going to start, but they need to make the moves to fortify this roster. But it is in Devin Booker's court now.
So let's play a game.
Okay, let's play a game.
All right. Predictions. Longest losing streak of the Suns next season.
Oh my. Probably still 5 or 6 games. What do you think, Tim?
Greg?
I will go with 3. If this team is going to legitimately be in the conversation for that 8th spot, you can't have sustained losing streaks. I think every team will lose, 2 or 3 in a row throughout the season, unless you're one of the top teams, which the Suns won't be. So if they want to realistically be a part of it, it's 3.
What was the longest losing streak of the Suns last season?
Oh, come on, Tim.
I'm gonna look it up. You guys buy me a second.
Thank you. Don't ask us to look it up. I think it was 7 or 8 games. They had a period right there in December. I'm pretty sure that's when you're going to find their longest losing streak last year. Okay, what's the longest season-ending winning streak by a team that has not made the playoffs at the end of that season-ending winning streak?
It was 8, by the way. 8 games was their longest.
Suns lost 8 games in a row this year.
And you were right about when it was, but yeah, it was 8 games. And what was the question, Dave?
My next question is the opposite end. What is the longest season-ending winning streak ever by a team that didn't qualify for the playoffs?
8.
Yes, and the Suns. Yes. Don't call me lazy, hey dude. Yeah. So 8 games. The Suns finished the season with 8 games. So now they have 2 of the ignominious season-ending records of non-playoff teams in the past 10 years. First, they had the most wins by a non-playoff team in 2013-14, and now they have the longest win streak to end the season by a non-playoff team. So how about they just become freaking playoff team? All right, let's go with that. Sick of this crap.
Can't hear you, Espo.
If you don't lose eight in a row at one point in the season, you don't have to worry about winning 8 in a row at the end of the season to just actually get yourself back in the conversation. I mean, that's part of the problem here is consistency. And if this team isn't consistent, they're not going to be in discussion for the 8th seed because the Warriors are going to be back. So that makes the West even tighter than it was this year.
They're shuffling every year. I never, ever, ever look at other teams when I worry about whether the Suns are going to make the playoffs. A good team makes the playoffs. A good team makes the playoffs, period. That's it. That's all you got to say. You got to be a good team. You can't be an okay team who might get lucky. You have to be a good team, and you'll make the playoffs. That's the way it is.
I would argue in the West next year, you're going to have to be a really good team to make the playoffs.
No,
there's always shit that happens. But yeah, I mean,
always shit that happens.
you probably are going to have to be a really good team to make the playoffs. But I mean, would this team really even be the Phoenix Suns if they didn't have a 7 or 8 game losing streak in the middle of the season?
Well, I don't know.
No.
Why don't you tell us about it next year when it happens, Tim?
I will. So on that note, we have an announcement to make on the show.
Oh, here we go. Tim's going to do it. This is the drama that y'all have been waiting for. Wait, you got to tease it for a little bit. Do we need to go out to a commercial break for a minute?
Do I need to do a commercial read?
Yeah, do a
just take
commercial
this giant camera off me. I don't want this giant camera on me.
Las Vegas, where Tim loses lots of money and other crazy things happen. Las Vegas, watch yourself. There's a
hey,
commercial.
Duke. Just because I've gained a little weight during COVID doesn't mean I'm preggers, okay? Don't judge.
And it's Tim's baby. Dun dun dun.
Oh.
Now, this is fun.
He must have mail ordered it to me then because he's been in Florida.
Oh God.
Jesus. Jesus.
Oh my God. No. Actually, we've bought the NAZ Suns and we're now running them. The Detroit Pistons back.
They were on sale for $5.
We now own it.
We used the Flaming Ballers money to buy the Naz Suns.
Yes. But any other? Oh, let's get the chat involved. Who's got a ridiculous theory as to what we're teasing right now? That's going to be the big announcement, other than Dave's pregnant.
Well, to be fair, I had a couple of guesses before, but it was a bit earlier in the chat.
No, we want to see him now. What are your predictions right now of what we're going to announce?
The great part about this is there's roughly a 30-second delay. So as we sit here and watch the screen, we're like, okay.
We're just gonna sit here.
Great TV.
Bender is Dave's son. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, he's not.
That is.
I'd have left him over in Israel the whole time.
Bender is Dave's son. You guys figured it out. Hey, Duke. Tim is replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yes, Tim is replacing her. He is the new Supreme Court justice. That is the big announcement. Tim, no one Republican is going to become the new judge on the Supreme Court.
Why all of these guesses in here?
Tim's going to
about
Vegas.
Me. Why are they all about me?
Because you're the one without a sun shirt on.
Jesus!
You're distracting them. It's a feint. Yes.
Man, if Pratt were right, this show would be much more respected than it is. He says Al McCoy will be the regular guest host of the Sun Solar Panel.
Well, we'd have to have more of a 4-letter word kind of beep 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 beep.
Poor Al would be slumming it quite a bit. So
you would be slumming it.
Coach Fallen Fonder. Oh my God! No, we did not get Max to join the pod. We talked about it.
Dave is actually Aaron Baines. I'm not quite tall enough, and I don't have as good a beard.
No. So we had a talk earlier on.
Sarver sold us to the Jazz.
if he could. No, we all got together. We had a talk earlier on in the week. Everybody that has been watching the Sun Solar Panel, and you can put me on the little screen.
No, we're giving you the
I
big
don't like
box.
I don't like being in the big box.
Big
screen.
screen.
Fine.
Oh no, we all had a talk. Listen, guys, all had a talk. We've been doing the Sun Solar Panel for 4 years at this point. Dave and Greg. And you guys have been waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, a little bit earlier, basically every Saturday or Sunday for 4 years straight. I do have the luxury of being able to do this a little bit later in the morning, but regardless, we've been doing this for a while. Through that time, a lot of shit has happened. I have personally lost a parent. I live in a different city now. I've had people that family come and go out of my life. Dave has been through some things, and I'm not going to talk about it publicly here on the show. We watched Greg's daughter grow up, on the show. But at this point in time, I want to make a change in my life, and know and just have an opportunity to do some other things. I have this business that I've been working on for a while, and that business is ready to take the next step. So I'm leaving, but I feel like DeMar DeRozan leaving the Raptors, where whatever you guys do next, is can be that person that really takes y'all to the top. It's certainly, I've told you guys this. I consider you guys both dear friends. If anything, I've been doing it longer just to have the opportunity to hang out with you guys every Saturday morning. I spent more time with Dave and Greg on this show than I probably have a single other friend over the course of 4
The
years.
pandemic. Oh, 4 years. Oh, I was just going to say the pandemic.
No, but I mean regularly seeing people. My best friends are all out in Arizona, so frankly, I don't get to see them very often. Once a year. But it's been an honor getting to know everybody. The people listening to the show, and I got some great recommendations on a dog who's now my best friend because of a listener on the show. And I'm just really proud that we got to build something that contributed to Phoenix Suns fans and fandom and the team. I'm really proud of the show that we built from where we started to where we are now. And I'm so excited to see what you guys do next. And I'm curious because y'all haven't told me what the next step is. I know this was kind of thrown on you quickly.
You don't need to know.
But I'm curious, what's going to happen to the Sun solar panel now.
I love that you gave us like 4 days to try to figure out the future of this thing and expected us to have an announcement. But, Tim, I want to take a second here, though.
It's not you, it's Tim.
For those of you listening on the pod, we just put up a graphic that says it's not you, it's Tim. He is breaking up with us as he announced. But Tim, I want to.
Tim broke up with us on a Google Meet, and I had to ask him if that's how he breaks up with all of his relationships, is just via a quick Google Meet. Hey, can you hop on this thing?
Look. Well, that's what he says before they break up. But anyways, can I please take a second to be serious here, Dave? Tim, it has been a true honor to work with you. We would not have had this podcast without you. I remember you reaching out. We had interacted a few times on Twitter back in your Drive and Dish days. I remember us talking via direct message about, hey, maybe we should start a Suns podcast. And this was at a time in my life where, quite honestly, I was a little lost. I had left a job with the Suns that had meant a lot to me. I had started a new chapter in my life. I had just become a father, but had started to kind of lose sense of myself as well. And you reached out, and this thing was born where we've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort. We've gone through ups and downs, both in life and with this team, and with the team mostly downs. But we picked the worst 4 years to start this, but I appreciate everything you've done. Without you, there is no Sun solar panel. You kept Dave and I on the rails. Well, in these past 3 years, there will be a Sun solar panel without you. Don't you worry. But you were the one that kind of put the formatting together, did the editing initially, got us set up, figured this all out. And without you, I don't think you got enough recognition always for that. So I appreciate you. And in honor of you, I've had this in my office. You sent us this picture from a game we went to, but this will now forever be sitting up here on the shelf, because no matter what we do, no matter where we go, you are always going to be a part of the solar panel, and this original tripod that we were, this thing would have fallen over without you. So thank you for that, Tim. Thank you for your friendship, and thank you for giving me a buffer between me and Dave, because we would have murdered each other at the beginning of this. So
Yep. So we're gonna have to look for a new kickstand on our motorcycle. I'd like that better than tripod, But anyway, look, Tim. To be serious, Dan Marley. We should hire Dan Marley as a Suns assistant coach.
Majuro.
Yeah, only
but
if you can call him a
they
Joe.
phonetically pronounce it. So I'm gonna really miss wondering who's the next name that Tim is going to mispronounce. But what I'm really, really going to miss is Tim actually being the organizer and producer of our show. I don't even want to take on more responsibility with this show than I already have. I have a lot of other things going on too. We all have lots of other things going on, and Tim did a lot of the background work for this show, made it what it is. Espo obviously has helped out as well, and I just show up like this, some dude who just, hey, I'm here, feed me, So I appreciate everything you've done, Tim, and it's going to be hard to find someone to replace you. I guarantee you we'll find somebody, because neither Espo or I want to take on more responsibility to set this show up. So don't take it personal when we bring someone in, and
I will only take it personally if it's one of two people who shall not
be. and we're getting both of them.
We got to do what we got to do, and what we got to do is keep this show going. So you got no say over it now that you quit on us.
Well, Tim, Blaze Megatron brings up a good point in the chat. Says, so the most important thing, who's going to give out the swag now on this show?
I got boxes of, and I know the joke he's making. I got boxes of this shit still in my office. Somebody send me some money and I'll ship it all to you.
Oh, God. I'm gonna wind up with this crap in my office now, because we know Dave's not gonna do anything. So
it's raining swag. We should just show up at the arena after it finally opens to fans again and just rain swag out in the foyer. That's what we should do.
So no, I like I said, I feel like DeMar DeRozan leaving. A good player, but you guys will find somebody that takes you to the.
You're saying we're going to the finals next year,
basically.
Awesome.
Yeah. And my favorite part will be listening to the show and watching the show every Saturday, when the team's good, and thinking, son of a bitch.
So
I like how you're only going to listen to the show when the team's good. That's what I heard.
And then I also want to know what the hell you guys are going to do during what could be a very long off season.
Oh my God. This is, you know what, dude, we survived a 4-month pandemic where there was zero sports, and all the Suns players were suddenly like us, just sitting in their houses. If we can survive that, we can survive anything. So I'm not worried about this off season, man. Nate Duncan as our new third wheel, that would be incredible. I'm going to try to go for that one.
I'm going to be
Although
amazingly...
he did block me. Are you blocked by him, Espo?
Yes, of course. I insulted the man numerous times.
I don't know how we're going to get unblocked to invite him.
I look forward to when Tim starts his own Suns podcast. This was just an excuse so we could have the 14th Suns podcast to go up against. No more in podcasting. I've been podcasting for 8 years, over 500 episodes. No more podcasting.
Look,
man, the seat is always here for you to come talk when this team's good.
So your seat in your own house is always there for you. to call
Thank you. So have you guys? So what's the plan? Have you all talked about it? Is there?
We don't really have a plan. We want to get someone who's a ton better than you for sure. But that's always the plan when someone leaves, right? But we have no idea. Everybody's already doing their own pod that wants to.
Look, I've reached out to Scott Van Pelt, and
nice.
Unfortunately, he has
not reached back.
He's not following me, so the DM bounced back. So we've got absolutely no plan right now. I don't know what we're gonna do, Tim. We had to mourn at least for a week. Like we can't be like certain other people to nominate someone without the body being cold. Like that's we gotta give a little time to figure this out. Maybe we'll try some things. We're up to ideas. If the Flaming Ballers have ideas, submit them. We'd love to hear them. We probably won't use any of them because I'm sure they'll be insane. But
hey, Tim, what's your feeling on William Skenador's suggestion to replace you?
Oh man, I'm gonna go out on a positive note.
Yeah, we're all
one thing I
we're
do
all
want to say
friends. Everyone's
is that
friends.
when we first started this podcast, that I used to give a lot of the other podcast hosts crap and
No,
talk
we're
a lot
not going to get the only girl who's ever guested on here to come back.
to but I used to give the other podcasts a lot of grief, and the other podcast hosts, and I kind of did this like rivalry thing, and I don't think that everybody really got that it was a joke. That I was kidding and all of that. So nothing but love for all of the podcasters that are still podcasting, that are contributing to Suns fandom.
Can we get one last as Max is asking for
Your mic's super low, buddy.
Yeah, what the hell?
Can you give us one last swag here for the fans? Can you say that?
One last swag.
Swag? What?
There we go.
Still can't hear you, Espo. We suddenly lost you. I don't know what's going on, man.
Gina Mizell. She'd be really good.
Yeah, she would be good. No, not the next name on the list. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, so I don't know. So what
we're gonna do, Tim, is we're gonna Greg and I have talked about this a little bit. Not much because you only gave us 4 days notice, but Tim and I have talked about, or Greg and I have talked about it a little bit. We're probably gonna audition through some people. At your suggestion that you made on the first day, is to go through some and see who fits with our personalities. I don't want somebody who agrees with us all the time. I would like somebody who has reasoned, backed up takes that would not always totally agree with us, and also is available when we're available to podcast
Saturday mornings,
which is probably still weekend mornings, because we talked about it. We could set a guaranteed night a week, evening a week, but then you've got during the season, the Suns are always playing on one of those dang nights. So, and we don't want to have to pick different nights of the week. Plus, Greg has a family. I've got responsibilities in the evenings as well during the week. So, plus I'm always covering the team when we're allowed to cover the team again. So I don't want to set a schedule that isn't going to last. So we'll talk through it. We'll find different guests and we'll see who fits, and that'll be probably over the next few weeks. We'll have some ideas. So feel free, Flaming Ballers. Feel free to make some suggestions in Facebook. You guys can always make suggestions in the comments section, and you can reach out to us on Twitter as well, and let us know who you think would be good guests for the pod. We have some ideas, but we're not really sure.
I like this solar panel crossover with Fanning the Flames. Man, I love those guys.
Yeah, those guys are great. And Suns Jam session and all that. We could do a big group thing, but it's the Saturday morning thing. And if you got too many voices, nobody gets to say their own full range of takes. So we'll try. We'll see what we're gonna do.
So I guess on that note, we'll go ahead and end the episode.
Hello.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, finally.
So
finally. I don't know. Equipment sucks. I was.
This is why we're not going to stick with just Espo and I.
Oh, well, yeah, like anybody else could have fixed that. Just sitting here playing with the cord. Take that as you will.
Oh man! Don't play with your cord during the show. Come on.
Look, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of things that we're gonna look into, but. Tim, as I said, it won't ever be the same. That may turn out to be a good thing. I don't know, but it won't ever be the same. So thank you for the effort and everything that you put in. Thank you to everybody who has put up with us, as Tim has throughout the years. We'll still be here, but Tim, I'm glad we got to give you a proper send off. So.
Thanks everybody in the chat, man. I love y'all. And Coach, I'll tweet you a picture of Scar. He's playing with a pit bull in the other room, and man, they're rowdy. They're children. Like freaking children. All right, guys. So on that note, for myself, Dave, and Espo, we appreciate you all for giving us an hour of your time each and every week on the Suns Solar Panel Podcast.
Ahoy, hoy.